Diversity is a reality of life. It is a reality of the organizations we work for. It is a reality of the communities where we serve. It is a reality of our shareholders. Diversity is, in fact, an objective reality of the world in which we live. The value of diversity and inclusion, however, speaks to the importance and how the reality of diversity is embraced within an organization, whether it is a part of the culture, encouraged, invested in, celebrated, or it is not a focus and it is left to default and personal inclination. What we find is that the value of diversity is it's the most high performing teams in the world operate in diverse ways. It really starts with valuing and appreciating diversity and celebrating diversity. And that has to then transfer that value to thinking about and incorporating the impact on inclusion in all of our decisions. When we think about the workplace, the experience, how do we, in this program, use this as an opportunity to celebrate and make our workplace more inclusive, to make it become a day-to-day, a lived value, an expression of our cultural value. We have to intentionally bring the conversation of diversity into consideration as we think about every program, every experience, and every workplace. How can that become more inclusive and more celebrate the diversity of our workforce more and more? That's how it can be done in the workplace. To meet the challenge of diversity among suppliers, we first must make an ironclad commitment to do so. It cannot be a soft, it cannot be a nice to have. We have to make a must have. We will build our supplier base on the back of a relationship of diverse suppliers. We will have a diverse set of suppliers. That's the starting point. From there, we have to create the engagement opportunities. Diverse suppliers tend to be smaller. They tend to have smaller networks. They may not have access to the levels of organizations to learn about and participate in RFP initiatives and processes. So we have to create those touch points, those engagement points. We may potentially need to think about the impact of how we carve our scope. So we may need to create bite-sized chunks of scope that allow diverse participants to compete because of the size of the scope. We may also have to offer some level of administrative support. Typically, again, diverse suppliers are smaller administrative teams. They may need more support or flexibility around the administrative requirements incorporated in our expectations. And then finally, diverse suppliers tend to be less well capitalized. So they may need some flexibility around payment terms or assistance if there are opportunities to shorten those payment terms, potentially at a small cost, facilitating their access to those types of programs. It begins with a commitment, and then the rest of it are just the logistics of how we access the diverse supplier communities and how we work effectively with those communities in order to diversify our supplier base. The future, our future, is one of increasing diversity. Global teams are increasingly working closer to closer, which brings different cultural backgrounds, different religious, racial, ethnic, and all manner of diverse employee into teams with other employees. We're looking at a diverse, bright future. And in order for us to prepare for that, Trascent is excited that we are personally contributing to investing in scholarships through CoreNet so that we can prepare the next generation of leaders. We anticipate, as we look to 2030, 2040, 2050, and beyond, that the leadership, the stakeholders, and the representatives of our industry and all industries will become a better reflection of the diverse world in which we live.